afternoon, man. How you doing?
Good. How's it going?
I'm
Ready for another barn burner, as they say. I'm always ready to go. Whenever it's 5, 10 minutes before we're ready to go on, I get real giddy and ready to get going. Learn something.
it-
Got my pad and paper ready.
ready to go. Speaking of bar murders, man,
Yeah.
this is our passion. When we go back to when we started this show, November 9th, I remember the day you and I and our buddies at the time said we're gonna showcase and give women that respect they deserve. We've talked about
Absolutely.
this. You and I have preached many softball sermons on this, sermons on the mount, if you will. And we believe in the power of women's equality, women's sports. And we have
Yep.
a lady coming on tonight. Talk about really showcasing the brand and just being an ambassador for the sport. Sydney Lewis, I know we talked about her day, and you looked at her high school pedigree and what she's doing now at Maryland. Last year, shout out to Coach H. Spent some time talking to her. Great lady. She's a sophomore this year, Dan. Is that right, Sydney? Is that
Yep.
where she's at?
Yep. Yep.
Never seen. Yeah. So ambassador doing great things, really kind of kicking it up a notch as we get into that second year. And like I said, Dane, we do lots of music, we do lots of sports, but there's always something just a little bit more special when we have a softball episode, you know.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
little giddy, as you said. We're so into it. This is what we do. The games that we call. We've watched Sid play a million times, and we think she's doing great. Role model, athlete, and just all around great human. So you know me. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right down to it and bring on the lady guest of the night. Sid, how you doing, my friend?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah.
Of
Thank you for your time.
course.
We really appreciate it.
Um,
Sydney Lewis, y'all, we so used to calling her Sid because we're all pals now. But Sid, we appreciate you so much taking time to do
Yeah.
this. Like I said, Dane and I probably watch about 400 games a month. We're really engulfed in softball from calling it, and our kids are in it and coaching it. So I've got a lot of questions for you. I'm going to kick it off. My first question, when I look back at you and the athletic story career that you've had, being a stud here at Maryland, Terps going back before that. Maybe when you first started playing, what age were you? When did you get the love to do this? Like, when did it all begin for you, if you will?
Yeah.
I played forever. I think I was 3 when I started, and I'm 20 now, gosh. But I did everything. I did blast ball, which is like fake softball, t-ball, coach pitch. I did everything. And I played other sports. I did like volleyball, basketball, and I threw like
Okay.
discus and shot put for some reason in like middle school. And I always just knew that I was meant to play softball just from the way I grew up building myself as an athlete and
Mm.
just my stature, I guess you could say. I knew I was going to play softball.
But then before you take two, so Sid, if I think about this in a way, 3 to 20. So technically, you played just about as many seasons already as Tom Brady's played, respectively
Let's
in
go.
softball. Is that right? I
There you
mean,
go.
you could be
Basically, what we're saying is
already.
I'm a female Tom Brady.
You're basically a goat status of softball, right, Dane?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. With all those other sports, with track and the discus and basketball, volleyball, what was it about softball that kind of make you want to go down that avenue and pursue this sport? I mean, you're great at it. So what was it
Yeah.
back then that made you say, okay, I'm going to take the ball and run down this path?
Literally.
I guess just to put it simply, I was horrible at the other sports. My main goal, my main jobs in the other sports and basketball was literally to just like take the ball from people and give it to the fast people. And then I just did the throwing events because I can throw it pretty far. And then I
Hmm.
don't know what I was doing in volleyball. I don't know what I was doing there, but I just ended up there.
Hmm.
And then when I got to high school, well, middle school, I mean, I was in middle school, so I wasn't insanely talented, but I mean, I was already starting to try and get recruited, and I was already involved in like recruiting agencies.
Hmm.
So, when I got to high school, I was like already going on, uh, getting invited to camps and stuff. So I was just like,
Mhm.
none of this is working out. None of the other stuff is working out for me.
I like how you said, as I'm breaking this down because I'm already making notes. My job was to take the ball from the fast people. For a minute, I have to take a moment and expand on that because like you're talking about knowing a role, going after it, kind of attacking it. What I already love when I hear is that aggression, like that, just go get it type.
Yep.
Ex
Yeah.
ex what you're exerting. I mean, help me out, Dane. Are you catching what I'm saying, Dane? Like there's just an
Yeah,
aggression
absolutely.
about it, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And did any of those other sports that you played, did they kind of help you, athletically, be a little bit better softball player? Maybe taking
I
Mhm.
some of
mean,
the discipline from those sports and putting it into what you do now.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always just been kind of a strength player in a sense, but
Hmm.
I also like developed such a mindset when I was younger that I didn't care what sport I was playing. I was going to find a way to win, even if I was on like the lower level teams. Because once
Mhm.
again, I was horrible at the other sports. I still like always had the same mindset of like, even in middle school, I was like, I will do whatever it takes to win. And like, I hate losing more than I like winning. So I would literally do anything to win. And I think that's definitely carried me over into my later years.
I love that. The
Absolutely.
philosophy that's so it's so powerful where it's like I've heard that said a few times, different
Yep.
coaches throughout the years where the fear of losing is more powerful than the joy of winning. And I love that about just say there's an influence that you're casting when you look at already, whether you like it or not, your role model. These girls look up to you. You know, we've got littles now, even in our organizations, even in Kansas, the 10, 14 teams we work with, you now have this, you're in the top 1%. What you've done, that philosophy, that mindset, that just dog go get it mentality. You're in the top 1% of the country. So there's an influence that you're leaving a mark on the world. I'm curious though, of the influence that you've left on everyone else already. Who's maybe been a couple, 3 or 4 of your maybe Mount Rushmore of your influences, if you will,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was thinking about this, because we talk about this a lot on our team, but I think I have like so many aspects of life that I like to look at in terms of like outside of softball that I have so many different people that I look up to. So like, for example, I love to look at some of my teammates in terms of like how they respect the game because I think we see a lot of examples nowadays of some people who just go through the motions, bad attitudes,
Mm-hmm.
efforts, things like that. And so one of my current teammates, Megan McCamey, she's a senior. She just always, no matter what, she's always respecting the game. And I just look up to that so much because I think sometimes we kind of take it for granted, the blessings we have. And I'm just so thankful that I played with her for the past year and a half now. And she's just influenced me in such a way to carry it on as the years go
Mhm.
on. And then one of my ex-teammates who she used to play college softball, now she doesn't, but she again just always respecting the game, working so hard to just showcase her skills, but she also did so much for little girls that I would love to do myself. And
Mhm.
then the last two, I promise. In
No,
terms
it's
of just
good.
yeah, in terms of just being a good person, you guys had her on Coach H. I mean Laura Heberling, but she's always Coach H to me. Just she prioritized us as people more than players, and I could never be more thankful that I had the blessing to know her and to learn from her. Because yes,
Mm.
I'm here to play softball, but at the end of the day, she also taught me to just take care of myself, be a good human being, really. And then finally, my ex-hitting coach, Mariah Montgomery, she is in Texas. She just taught me everything I knew about the game. She's just so smart, and I've always been a hitter, and she has literally just educated me since I was 12 or 13. She's just everything. I can't even express how much she means to me.
I love that. And
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
again, Dane, before you take it forward, Dane, think about this, Sid. What you just said, you were able to give that list of people that have impacted you. Again, shout
Yeah.
out to Coach H. We love her. We wore Maryland's flag because of her. Dane, remember, I still got that shirt, Dane. I wear it
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
practice and stuff. But she's awesome,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but no, sorry, Dane. But when you think about that again, going back to that kind of statement, Sid, this influence, you're not going to be able to escape it. When you talked about kind of carrying it forward, how does it feel knowing that you now have that torch? You're going to be passing it on.
Yeah.
Someday, some girl's going to say, "Yeah, I remember when Sydney Lewis kind of taught me everything I know." Isn't that crazy? Knowing that's going to be you. Have you thought about coaching when you're, down the road, or what's the next step?
Mm.
Have you thought about that?
Um,
Maybe coaching.
I mean, I don't really know. Right now, I'm really looking into like broadcasting. I really love like learning. I like having a high IQ in softball, so I think talking about that would be fun. I've just always been a talker. Like it's bad sometimes. But I mean, yeah, I like work better with certain age groups. So like I'm looking for more of like high schoolers, middle schoolers,
Okay.
because I don't know, I just connect better with them than little kids, but I still love little kids, but
Mm.
they're kind of more my speed, the older girls. But I mean, I just love any chance I can to talk about educating people in the game and how we can respect it more because like I said, like I do this all the time. I forget like how lucky I am.
Love
Yeah.
it. Love it. Sorry,
Absolutely.
Dane. Go ahead, man. That's awesome. Go ahead before Dane.
No, I was just going to point out, all those influences that you have, it's something to learn from people of that high caliber. And now you can even take that a step further because you'll have new experiences that they didn't even have because the game is growing so fast. And like I say, with, athletes like you coming down the pipeline, the things that you're learning and the things that now you can pass on to the next generation, we're only going to see it mushroom even more and more. So that's great to hear when you have, the people that are close to you, and you can always go back to them and ask for more, and get some more knowledge from them. So that's great that you have all those influences, and they're right on the top of your head. So I love it. So now now that you're in the middle of or at the beginning of the season, you guys are rolling along. Are there a couple of maybe goals in this season that you're looking to reach? Maybe some milestones in your sophomore year here?
Yeah, I wasn't really a starter last year. I was more of a pinch hitter. I had a couple of weeks where I started, but now that I'm like actually a full-time starter and I actually play every game now, I kind of set my personal goals, but I really am focusing on like the bigger picture of things. I mean, obviously we have new coaches this year, but our main goal as a team is we want to win a Big Ten championship. Also, we want to, my goal forever, the reason I wanted to play college softball was I want to make a regional. I want to get to go to that stage. I think it'd be so fun and exciting. And then like personal goals for myself is I definitely want to make some sort of all Big Ten team. I want to hit over 300, kind of balance out my walk to strikeout ratio. Just little things like that. I don't really like to focus on my individual statistics because I think they don't hold as much value as what you put out on the field, but little things like
I love Dana, we've talked about this, and I can already hear it kind of in your voice say it, like you probably have that kind of future in broadcasting as you're breaking down plays, you're breaking down stuff. Like I'm eating this up. It's like sherbet ice cream for me. I'm just listening to you talk and eating it up. What do you think about that, Dana? That kind of is right up our alley, right?
Yeah, and two, you said it how you were putting it. The individual things aren't as important as the team, and that probably what makes your team love you. I mean, one of those things where it's what I do, it means nothing if we can't get there together. I love that message, and we try to pass that along to a lot of our younger kids as well. I mean, the individual accolades are great, but you, at the end of the day, you either can celebrate with yourself or with the teammates that you love, and most people will want to go with the teammates that they love. So that's a great message that you're carrying with you.
I love that.
Getting first team all Big Ten won't get me to a regional. I love
that.
The team has to get us there.
So far, before I go to rapid Sid and Dane, Sid, I've got these notes. Carry it forward. Teamwork makes the dream work, essentially. It's basically like team over self. I keep hearing this theme with you, Sid. No wonder people love you. And everyone I've ever mentioned your name, she's like, oh yeah, it's just always with a kind of a glisten in their eye of like how helpful you are and how much you love others. And that's how Dane and I always say, people like you, the next generation of softball is in good hands. We say this every time we get someone like yourself, and it's very clear that we have nothing to worry about with people like you passing the torch, if you will. So we are going to transition to something. I promise you, this little segment. And any media days or media interviews, anything you've done, I bet you've never had a segment like this. This is our bread and butter. We call it rapid fire. Let me explain a little bit to you how this works. Our fans are amazing from all different 30 countries. We'll ask for questions all across the world. And what they'll do is they'll give us things to ask you. Imagine during this segment that there's no time. Reality doesn't exist. You can go back in time. You can go forward. Nothing's off the table. And during this segment, there's no wrong answer. What you do is you pick what you feel is the best answer. And Dane and I are betting on what we think you're going to say. Whichever one of us gets closer to what you pick, the winner gets lunch provided by the loser. It's pretty cool. Okay.
That's exciting.
So we already have the questions. We've already put our bets aside. We have them in a disclosed location. So we already bet on you. Let's see how we do. You ready?
Okay, ready.
The first question. So check this out. Again, so you get super regionals. It's funny you said that because that was one of the questions. And what they don't tell you is you get to have a celebrity hype man just walk around with you today going, hey, Sid Lewis, just walk around behind you, right? Just kind of everywhere you go, like they're shouting your presence like they used to do back with Kings and Queens in the old days of like, hear you, right? Like they're announcing you. So your two choices that can walk around and kind of announce you everywhere you go is Matt Rife. Everybody loves him. I know. Get to pick Matt Rife. Or we can go classic old school. You can have Jim Carrey follow you around and announce you for the day. Matt Rife, Jim Carrey, which one you go with?
Jim Carrey, of course.
Dane, I actually didn't have that one. I had Matt Rife. Dane, how about you?
Yeah, I had Matt Rife too. And
you guys are looking at my generation. I'm an old soul.
But hey, it's cool. No worries, man. No wrong answer. It's all good. Okay, so no good. No problem. So second question. So a lot of athletes get called up to do TV shows, cameos, things like that, right? So you get called up and they say, hey, they would like you to be on a guest episode of one of these two TV shows. You can pick the one that you want to be a part of. They're going to build your character in for just an episode, right? It's a sports one. So option A, you can be a part of the Goldbergs. Absolutely love that show. It's set in the 80s, so you'd be traveling back in time for that one. Or B, you can be a part of an episode, this is kind of up your alley, of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. So Goldbergs, Shark Boy and Lava Girl, which one are you going with?
I'm going with the Goldbergs. I've never seen that show, but I love the 80s, so.
You have an obligation, Sid. Your homework, you have to go watch it. We're friends with more people on it. It's a great show. You got to check it out.
Okay, I will.
It'll talk to you about when Dane and I were kids, ancient history back in the 80s when things happened. It's a great show. It's like light brights before the internet, when payphones were around. It's awesome. So check it out. Okay. So Dane, what did you have, Dane? Did you have
I'm striking out so far. Almost for 2.
Wow.
That's Shark Boy.
I can't even remember the last time I've seen that.
Yeah. My kids actually gave me that one. So the third one, you get to be who you are, like make it again. So we go on in your kind of story career, you win a couple regionals and all that. And they say, Sid, we actually want to write you into one of the next novels of these two famous franchises. You're going to be a character. Somehow you're going to be like maybe like a sorcerer. They're going to take you as a softball player. You're going to have magical powers to be dropped into one of these two universes. You can be wrote about in the next coming Harry Potter book. You can be in that. I'm just going to say it's going to happen. Again, no time doesn't exist. Or you can be a part of some type of new Lord of the Rings installment. Potter, Lord of the Rings, Sid the Conqueror, whatever you want to call yourself. Which one are you going with?
I would go with Harry Potter.
Oh my God. Dane?
Oh man.
Did you get that right?
No,
I'm striking out. Oh my gosh. Sid, it's okay. No wrong answer, Sid. Let me see if I can redeem myself on this one, Sid, this next one. So this is pretty iconic. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but let's see if you really are the old soul that you claim. So this one, however this happens, these two bands, or these two artists are alive at the same time. They both come to watch you play softball, okay? And they say, we're so impressed with your passion. We love what you do. We think you're a great winner. You got this attitude. We'd like you to come just sit down in a room and write an album with us. We're going to put out an album and want you to just write the lyrics with us, okay? So choice one, had to ask. You can go with write an album with Taylor Swift, or check this out. You can go and write an album with John Lennon from the Beatles. You get to pick. Love them both. Let's go. She is an old soul. Okay, she is an old soul, Dan. I dig it.
Oh,
so,
did you get that
which
one?
Did you have, Dan?
Did you guys?
I finally got one.
Let's go. Yes. I do love Taylor Swift. My mom loves Taylor Swift, and I love Taylor Swift, but I am a huge oldie. I have all these CDs in my apartment right now. Oh,
I love how she said oldies and she said CDs, Dane. Let's talk about that for a second. No, I'm kidding. I love it. Back in my day, we had these little discs. No, it's cool. So awesome. I have 2. Dane has 1. Let's see if Dane can time me with this last one. Okay. So the year is 2027. There's a Sid Lewis biopic movie coming out. It's going to be on Lifetime. It's about your career as a softball player and your story and just all the things you've done for the world. Love both these ladies, but you get to pick which one is going to be you, the leading lady that plays Sid Lewis. Your 2 choices are Megan Fox or Emma Stone to play you in this upcoming movie on Lifetime. Who's it going to be?
Emma Stone, just because I love Spider-Man. And Megan Fox, I don't watch Transformers as much as I watch Spider-Man.
Okay. That's all good. Dan, which one did you have on that?
Yeah, I had Emma Stone.
Let's go.
Good actress. She's a great actress.
I
think I could see it too, because you guys do have a little bit of that similarity where it's kind of like just more of like an old school presence, So I get that. So.
I think Megan Fox is more my generation.
Yeah, I got you. Well, Dane, I had 3, you had 2. So Sid, thank you for participating in Rapid Fire.
Let's go.
Dane, I'll take my lunch, Dane. You can send it to me. Don't go and do that, Dane, if you will. But yeah, this is a little something we do say at every episode. It's called Rapid Fire. So hopefully in media stuff you've had something a little different.
Yeah,
thank you. So
awesome.
I'll give you the thank you. So the last segment, give back to Dan. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, on this last segment, Sydney, we call it open mic. We kind of open the floor to our guests to maybe pass along a message to our younger viewers and listeners. We try to inspire that next generation, like we said, to be the best they can be. And we do that by giving them inspirations like yourself. And so we ask maybe do you have a philosophy or a few words of wisdom to pass down to this next generation of ballers to maybe help them on their path as well? Maybe something you've carried with you.
Yeah. I think some of the things that I've learned that I wish I would have known when I was younger, and these both points don't apply to just softball. You can take these as life lessons if you want. But the first one was just that I remind myself a lot is to just be myself, which is a very cheesy term, but it is very true. As I grew up as somebody who is very loud, very outgoing, not a lot of people enjoy it. Some people love it, some people hate it. And it sometimes affected my recruiting process where like some coaches wanted me, but they also wanted me to not be me in a sense. Like they wanted my softball skills, they didn't want me as a person. And so in my recruiting journey, I learned that if a coach won't accept you for who you are, why would you want to be a part of that? And I mean, winning is great, but if you can't be yourself, like you won't have joy. And where you are, you won't be
Mm.
yourself. And I mean, I have the biggest joy being myself. I love myself, and I think I am a hoot. And
Yeah.
secondly, one thing that I am still working on at 20 years old is just being kind to yourself and really prioritizing healthy communication, which again, like I said, I'm still working on. I think sometimes that we forget that this is literally a game. Like I forget all the time. I'm like, yes, I am blessed to have the scholarship here that I have.
Mhm.
But these coaches are also blessed to have me here.
Yep.
And I think we need to remember that our worth is not based on what we produce in a game, whether that's softball, baseball, basketball, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
So I think just taking in every little moment, the places you visited. I mean, I went to Oregon and Washington, and I've never been to either of those places, and they were absolutely beautiful. And just the new friendships I've made. I mean, I came from Texas all the way to freaking Maryland. That's a long way. So just
Yeah.
taking in every experience that you get that you wouldn't have had if you didn't play this sport,
Mhm.
but also remembering that the place you're at is lucky to have you.
Wow.
I got a page. I'm over here writing say because like we always get nuggets from guests like yourself, and I'm taking it in. Remembering it's just a game, living the moment, like looking at each step and enjoying how you got here. You said something. We think you're here too. We think you're awesome. We love you. We think you're great. So I wanted you on the show. But you said this. It's funny. You and somebody that you might know of called Kurt Cobain said this thing one time. It says it'd be better to be passed up for being you than to make it being someone that you're not. Dane, I mean, am I right, Dane? She's right on,
Yeah. 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 And like we always tell our girls, I tell my daughter this. I said, if you do something great, people will come to you. So just be yourself and just do the things that you love to do, and you'll do them to the best of your ability. And the ones that are supposed to be in your life will come along. So
Right.
that's a
The
great
people
Yeah.
message.
that gravitate towards you are the ones that are meant to be in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there is something to be said too. Sid, obviously, Maryland's great. Like we love the program. We love what it stands for, and having an ambassador like you, I'm
Yep.
glad you're at Maryland because sometimes, not that we disrespect, we love mid majors and things like that. Don't get me wrong, but having a powerful presence like yourself at a gargantuan school like that, you're literally like a mouthpiece for female athletics, and I think you're
Yep.
put where you're supposed to be. Like I think it's divine that you're there, kind of shedding that light on the next generation of athletes. I think you're meant to be
Yep.
there, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really grateful that I'm still so young and I still have 2 years to keep doing this. And whereas in Texas, softball is a very, very big sport. And
Yeah.
coming to Maryland, where it might not be as big, that I can continue on the legacy of Maryland softball and inviting these girls. And just like I remember we get to do like autograph lines after the games and like just talking to these girls that I've never met before who just love me and love my teammates. Like
Yeah.
it's just so exciting for what softball could come to be in Maryland.
I love that.
Yeah.
Man, it's awesome. We've had a lot of ladies we've interviewed declare and go pro. I know it's a couple years down the road. Is that ever something you thought about? Because it's such a popular thing now and it's such a groundswell, of women's sports going
Yeah.
pro. Have
Absolutely.
you thought about maybe AU or stuff like that after college or?
I think if I was maybe at a bigger school, my name's not really out there like that. But
I said,
also the pay right now is horrible and needs to be better for women athletes
right.
all around, which is a revenue issue, whatever. I'm not getting into this.
I'm with you.
Um,
Preach, preach. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, whatever happens, I just have no idea what I want to do. So we'll see where life takes me. I've got a few ideas, but if pro softball comes up and they want me, I mean, that'd be awesome. That'd be so
Okay.
cool.
Okay. Yeah. Well, don't feel bad, Sid. Dane and I are several years on you. We still have no idea what we want to do, so don't feel bad. All right, Dane?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Still sorting it out.
anything,
Thank
Dane,
you.
on that? But yes, I mean it when I say this. Getting a chance to do this is a privilege of us getting to interview you.
Yeah.
We always say we learn more than our guests do. It's an honor to have you on. I can't say enough.
Absolutely.
We mean everything we said. We stand behind you. We watch you. We'll be watching all your games. We watch everything you guys stream, and we think you're doing a heck of a job. And like I said, Dane, I mean every word of this. The next generation of athletes, with ladies like you leading the way, it's a good hand. So we hope it's not the last time. Make it the first of many. Please make sure you stay in touch. We would love to have you back as things unfold. Maybe even some guest commentary because I think you got the chops for it. So let's make sure we make this a budding friendship and do this again sometime. Okay. So
thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. You have a good one, Sid. Thanks for your time. Okay. Much love.
Thank you.
So Dane, I'm telling you, man, Sid's awesome, dude. Like, in breaking it down, kind of meeting with her, just such a passion and excitement, and just a love for life, not just the game. What'd you think of her, man?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. Every time we talk to these athletes, you forget how young they are. You get about halfway into the conversation, and they tell how young they are, and you're thinking, man, so much knowledge and so much you've already learned at this age. And those kind of things only come with being open and being good at something and having a passion for it. I mean, obviously, too, you have all the avenues with, being online and, social media and things like that. You have more avenues to get that knowledge, the avenues that we didn't have. So it's even better to see this next generation can grow like that, and like she said, an old soul, not just, with entertainment and things, but also with the knowledge she's accumulated already.
Yeah, she's awesome, dude. We got to have her back because just the way she carries herself, the way she knows what she wants. And I keep going back to this. All you girls listening out there, she said there's schools that pretty much, she did all but said it, passed her up for her personality. And I'm like, this is such a huge thing. We've had teams, we've seen this happen even in the 12, 14, 16 years where coaches will say, hey, I'm not really clicking with this kid right here. And it's nothing more than just maybe that kid expressing themselves for who they are. Maybe they are a little bit louder. Maybe they're a little too quiet for that coach or whatever. That's okay. Be yourself, and the right team's going to find you. Look at her now, nationally recognized, nationally ranked softball player, the 1%. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, absolutely.
Love it. Gosh, that was a good one, man. I forget how blessed we are to interview these softball players, So that was a great one.
They always bring something different. Each one of them brings something a little bit more to where we can learn.
Well, Sid, we appreciate you. I can't help it. It's Sid because I just know my aunt's Sid, so it's like I can't help but call her Sid. So Sid Lewis, thank you so much for stopping by and giving us your time. We'll make it the first of many. Dan, we got many more coming up. We got a recap, and then we have our nightcap. Our buddy Matt Baird from Spoken coming up. So we'll get a reset, rebreather here. As always, don't forget that we love you. And Dane,
thank you for listening.
All right, that was.